Okay. Welcome, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Julia Leaf. I'm the Executive Director of Cambridge Common Writers, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving, supporting, and promoting the alumni of Lesley University's MFA in Creative Writing program. We are thrilled today to have Jasminne Paulino with us, helping to launch debut novel in verse, The Extraordinary Orbit of Alex Ramirez. And Jasmine will be in conversation with Kate Wissner. So I'll give some brief introductions and then I'll hand things right over to them. So Jasmine, an unapologetic code switcher, grew up in Washington Heights, New York City. The Dominican Republic, La Vida and Familia, inspire her picture book and middle grade writing. She is a June 2023 Writing for Young People graduate from the MFA in Creative Writing program at Lesley University. Her debut novel in verse, The Extraordinary Orbit of Alex Ramirez, is one of the middle grade picks for the July-August 2025 Kids Indie Next list. Kate Wissner, also a Writing for Young People graduate from Lesley, is a novelist, teacher, and accidental poet living in Massachusetts with her wife and dramatic dog. Her debut novel, The Song of Us, was named to the National Council of Teachers of English's 2024 Notable Poetry Books and Verse Novels list, and her follow-up, 13 Ways to Say Goodbye, was published by HarperCollins earlier this year. Her writing has appeared in the Boston Globe, WBUR's Cognoscenti, and elsewhere. So I will hand things over to Kate and Jasmine.
Yeah, thanks so much, Julia. We're so happy to be here. Jasmine, such a good title for that book. I mean, just every time I hear it, it's so beautiful. I just have to say that.
A classy title. I know. And I this is like my favorite thing to share whenever I'm asked like what was the inspiration for my inspiration was actually no, you being the great friend that you are with your like sack of classy words that like are just always available to you. And when I was struggling to find the right title for this, it was summer 2023 and I had exhausted all of my like not so great titles. And then I texted you. It's like, so you've read some poems, the ones that I was willing to share at the time. And I remember like going to the kitchen, getting water and hearing like the immediate, like maybe it took like a minute from my text going out and you responding with like, yeah, so like, what do you think about, and like nothing, the extraordinary orbit of Alex Ramirez. And it's like, I just, I knew it was the title for the story as soon as I read that. And I love it so much. And I'm always grateful to you for that.
Someday may I be able to title anything I write the way that I'm able to title other people's work. Alas, that is not the case. Before we really dive into the book, I was wondering if you would read us a little bit of the book. Like give us the two-sentence elevator pitch, and then could you read us a little bit of the book?
I have to.
No, you don't have to.
No, I won't.
I'm not going to come to your house and shake you down. Do you
You-
want to just give us the elevator pitch?
I'll give you all the things.
Oh, you're so good.
It's a story about a seventh grader who is neurodivergent and he loves all things NASA. And he's convinced that if he's able to join the seventh grade mainstream science class, that it'll get him closer to his astronaut dreams. But he has to convince his parents and the teachers in school to believe in him and allow him access into that class.
I love it. I love
Mhm.
it.
So now I'll read a little.
Yeah, read a little.
Poco, no mucho. So, beginning. Lonely Planet Me. National Geographic says there are super lonely planets roaming through our galaxy. Apparently, unlike regular planetas, these planets don't dance or hold hands with stars, which means no sunrises, no sunsets. All they do is travel in solitary arcs around the Milky Way's core. I bet you if these planets could talk, they'd probably be all, hey Earth, how come you get to spin on an axis? How come you revolve around the sun? How come you get so many oceans? How come you're the only planet with life? How come you get everything?
Mm.
Get anything. Did you know there are middle school kids who don't get to do what everybody else does? I'm one of them. Y no sé por qué my class, seventh grade SC. This means self-contained. It almost sounds like we belong in those plastic food containers with the tight blue lids. No sé por qué we have to be so locked in, so different. It's like we're part of the school, but not really. When your class is small, you get to know everyone. James habla. Ese muchacho no se calla. And when he works, he rubs the corners of his desk and hums. Emma stares at me. Don't ask. And loves to text. Hey, Alex, where'd you go? I know you read my message. Chase likes to laugh. Hey, Alex, you okay? Is what he asks when he sees me thinking. SC morning arrival procedure means getting to school early, and mommy takes this job seriously. El problema, our class is the only one with teachers waiting like pingüinos on the front steps of the school, cause when you're not in SC, there's no stand with your teacher display. The walkers and bikers high five John from facilities. The bus kids just roll in and go. Even my little sister Ellie walks in on her own. And get this, when Mrs. Fuentes, our assistant principal, blows her whistle, the car stops. The kids inside just get out and go. Chase's mom is usually late, which means we have to wait. This also means everyone sees us. Everyone sees me. A day. Friends, let's have a day, Miss Sharon says, waving us into our classroom, smiling. Morning math sheets are on your desks. No sé. But every time Miss Sharon smiles, every time she speaks, it reminds me of those nurses, the hey buddy ones with squeaky voices. Also, what's with let's have a day? Where? Here? Someone should tell Miss Sharon, listen, there's no way this class can have a day cuando todo is always the same. Stop there.
Thank you for sharing some of that with us. And if people would like to drop some love in the comments, that's what comments are for. We will do questions in a bit, but I want to start with the spark that you had for this book. I know that we're here with CCW, the alumni organization for Lesley, and I know that you wrote this book during your time at Lesley. So I'm curious about what was the first spark for this book, and when did it grow from a spark to like a full-blown fire?
Again, these are Kate Fussner words. I love the spark to fire transition, and I'll ask you about that and like your process with middle grade. I remember I had just finished my second semester at Lesley,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about what to bring to residency. And in that thinking, I've been writing parts of this story for so long, and I didn't know what to bring with me. And then I really thought about like my own experiences growing up, being an educator, seeing my son in a self-contained classroom for part of his elementary school and middle school experience. And then I sat down and I remember like the first 3,000 words just kind of landed in my Word document. And even then when I did that, I remember going to that first in-person residency at Lesley.
Oh, right, because you started during the pandemic.
Right, this was
Yeah.
June 2022. I remember showing up with 3,000 words of one middle grade prose project and 3,000 words of Alex.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was the gray area was the working title for that. And it just, I remember not even leaving residency and not deciding on what I wanted to focus on. But the more time I thought about it, my headspace just like traveled to Alex, and that's what I committed to. And the story grew while I was at Lesley, after Lesley, and I still can't believe it's a book.
It's a whole book. It is a whole book with like a cover and like 4,000 blurbs from very exciting people. Yeah, no, you nailed it. I am curious, was it always space?
Space as in like his like the thing that drove him.
Yeah.
It's a couple of things. Again, like my son was in middle school when I was drafting this, and he was at the time very space obsessed.
Yeah.
I also love a Colombian singer, Camilo, and I remember that summer there was a song called NASA that kept playing over and over again. So it just kind of like all came together when I thought about the parts that inspired me to write this story, Alex as a main character, and then what would be the thing that would drive his story forward, and listening to that song. So it just, whenever he needed a break and a way to understand the world, science was that door for him.
I
It,
love that. I love that. And I'm curious because I feel like space is such a rich, it's such a rich theme feels like the wrong word, but such a rich thread for poetry. And so I'm curious, was it also always a novel in verse? Were you always drawn to this form? Like, how did it land there instead of like our regular chapter book?
it was always, whenever I thought about this story and I allowed myself to play before I
Hmm.
like really sat down and like worked on a full draft. When I thought about Alex, when I thought about his parents, I knew he'd have a sister. Whenever I played with those characters, I'd always write poems.
Hmm.
But it obviously, and then when I realized that it needed to be a story, the poems, and I'm, as also being a fan of novels and verse, those poems just like carried over into a full-blown story told through poetry.
Yeah. It's I love that you mentioned characters because I also have a question about the characters. So we got a little bit of a glimpse of this at the beginning that like when you're in a self-contained classroom, you really get to know your classmates, right? Because you don't have very many of them. And Alex's classroom and Alex's world has such a rich cast of characters, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how did you go about like filling that classroom with all of these kids? Like, where did they come from? Are they inspired by your experience as an educator? Are they based on your experience as a person in this world? And can you talk a little bit about too about how you create characters in poetry when you have, more limited uh word count?
Right. Um, the characters, his classmates are definitely a combination of like students I've had through the years. Definitely, again, as I was drafting this, my son was in middle school. He was in a self-contained classroom.
Mm,
His classmates, some like I think James is a combination of two of the friends that he had at the time. So like he would come back and like seeing going into their classroom as well definitely helped me bring this classroom to life in this story.
hmm. And then in poetry, like, how do you do it so fast? Like, how do you create these characters where it's like, we know them?
Well, it's like the concentrated version.
Uh-huh.
And I love that. Where like you really have to think about, if Chase is going to be Alex's best friend, then every move and every word has to be significant. Like there's less to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the invitation that you have with novels in verse, where like when there are those moments of tension between Alex and Chase, like that you have more white space, and then you can have the Spanish also when Alex is in his head. So I love that, like a novel in verse, the white space and allowing words to like sit with the character and the reader is
Mm-hmm.
something that's special to novels in verse.
Yeah. Alex's parents are also like really present in the book. And one thing I have done in my middle grade is try to make the parents as available as little as possible because it's more convenient, right? Oh, the parents are disengaged. Oh, the parents are working too much, whatever it is.
Right.
You have such present parents. Like it's a delight in so many levels. I think it's also a challenge because when the parents are present in a book, then the kid's journey is more strongly impacted by their presence. So I'm curious, how did you decide for Alex's parents to be so central to his journey, his growth? And what did it mean for you to show his parents' growth also?
He's a neurodivergent young person, and he's not just a seventh
Yeah.
grader, 12-year-old. Um, Given that he is the human that he is going to need his parents. And in
Mhm.
order for him to like step into himself and take steps forward, he needs them to hear him.
Mhm.
I couldn't see a world with Alex that didn't have them as part of his team. And like even I remember that there's a poem where the dad says like we're on your team, and he like takes that seriously, like word for word, like but like what if like I lose, and what if you get upset?
Mhm.
And again, he wouldn't be able to take those steps outside of the SC and really like
Right.
accept himself for who he is if his parents weren't there. And it's true for like the most successful neurodivergent kids are the kids who have that level of parental support, and just adults in general who see them, because he also has to go through that with his teachers in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were definitely moments in the book where I just wanted to like take a couple of these teachers aside and be like, listen, you're wrong. This book, I think there's a lot of educators who would benefit from reading this book because there's a lot to be learned about listening to young people and about believing young people and about not limiting them when they're not limiting themselves, right? Like there's so much happening there, but I did want to throttle a couple of these educators, which is not unusual for me to feel that way. Um, what about having his parents grow as well? Like what did that mean for you?
I've had several people tell me, well, dad is great, love dad, what a friend, but mommy is complicated. Um, and that's important too, because like mommy goes through her own journey where she's trying to work on her own anxieties regarding Alex, and like how does she keep that in control and still show up as the parent that he needs. And that's a true, I think, as a parent myself, I think one of the biggest things I've given my kids is like showing them my moments of vulnerability and telling them that I'm trying my best. So as in trying to like draw out parents who
Hmm.
feel, that definitely was important to me. Mommy has a journey ahead of her.
Hmm.
But she like definitely like there's an arc there, and I'm glad it is, because it just makes we can relate to her more.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's beautiful. I mean, I feel like one of the things that I love about this book is how tender you are with every character. It's yeah, like Pata's saying in the chat, it's realistic, it's honest, but it's also like deeply respectful um and all the characters I think feel so whole because you really did treat them like whole people the whole time. All right. I want to talk with you about language because I know also like part of your time at Lesley was not only spent on this book but was a thinking about like bilingual writing, who bilingual writing is for. You want to just do your whole seminar? Should I?
I know. Oh no, let's not.
I know. I'm just offering. We have time. If you just want, I'll pull up the PowerPoint. Hold on. Give me a sec. No, I'm kidding.
I can't. I've had versions of that question asked before, and the first person that comes to mind is Chris Lynch, because I love him so much. And I remember that my first residency, one that took place on Zoom, he like was told me not to hold his hand.
Hmm.
Basically make me
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I'll figure it out. I'll let you know if I'm confused by like your use of Spanish.
Hmm.
And at the time, I remember going into the program thinking that I had to translate, that whenever there was the Spanish, that I should have like what it is, the translation for that in English. And he was the first one to say, like, don't do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm forever grateful, because I mean, I didn't take very much for me to be like, okay, I won't. Uh,
You just needed that like little extra, like here's the little
and
push.
allowed to have him say that. And then similarly, when I worked with Cynthia, she was also one to like just like write the thing that you need to write. And if it needs to live in Spanish, then that's what it should be.
Hmm. So, in writing that way, did it feel most natural to you? Like, did it
It
feel most natural to Alex?
I mean, there aren't very many, and you know this, there aren't very many stories that feature like Black and brown kids, and like
Yeah.
kids who are bilingual, and like those moments like when they're at home and like you can hear their
Yeah.
parent, like you can hear his parents. like go back and code switching between the English and Spanish. When Alex is in his head and thinking about things, it sometimes the words come up, bubble up in English, and other times in Spanish. I struggle with that a lot, where sometimes my inside thoughts are happening in Spanish, and then the outside ones are like in English. And anyone who's been around me for
Mm-hmm.
like more than 5 minutes knows that, like, see, está bien. And it just like
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of my everyday experience. And if I'm writing a story, and if it gets to like live on a bookshelf one day,
Mm-hmm.
I want for kids to feel like, oh, like the sounds that are in my head, the sounds that are in my home are ones that can also be found in a book. And that wasn't my experience growing up. So I feel incredibly privileged to be in a place of like offering that up in
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that uh, young readers and adults and educators are better for it, right? And I think that the a book like Alex is both really lovely for young bilingual readers to have to see themselves on the page, and it's also really good for monolingual readers to understand that that is the authentic experience of their peers, and like that gives them a window into how other people think, and like that's so powerful. So readers are really lucky to have your words.
And I'm really lucky. I also, in like working through this story as I was revising, and I would send versions of this to my agent, who I think is on here,
Yeah.
but they're hiding.
Yep.
But I'd send versions of this to them, and they were also really great about encouraging the Spanish. And not just that, but sometimes, like Spanish speaker, Spanish teacher me would forget an accent, and they would pick up on it.
Oh, that's next level. That's next level agenting. So, um, very impressive.
Yeah, no, I've been
Um,
lucky with, again, mentors, my agent, my
mhm,
editor is also great about just like flowing with like what lands in front of him. If it's in English, it's in English. If it's Spanish, and sometimes he's made suggestions about words. Uh,
mhm.
so I've only had support on that end. I've been able to like stretch my bilingual legs, so that is something that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, well, I think it makes the poetry really magical. Like it absolutely contributes to the lyricism of it and the poetry of it, and gives Alex such a natural flow. It's just lovely. I'm just here to say this book is lovely. And if you haven't read it, I don't know why you're sleeping on it. Let's go. Since this is a CCW event and we have some alums on the call, can you talk a little bit about your post MFA writing life? Like, what has kept you writing, and what does writing look like now that you don't have 6,000 words due every 4 weeks? Like, what's it like?
You know, it takes it's hard. I think the transition post MFA
Mhm.
to real life, and like and having stories that you want to have out there, it's hard. And carving out time, and for me that looks like waking up early before the rest of my day starts, before I have to sign up for my teaching life or my life as a parent, before all the other plates land in front of me. I try to carve out time for like a poem.
Mhm.
I'll pull up an old picture book. Lately, I've been playing with picture book manuscripts, so that's been fun. But I think just carving out a time, whether it's like you're an early morning person, having pen and paper with me, I've developed that habit of making sure that I have something to write with. So if I'm waiting for my kid and they're taking longer to get out of camp, I have something to do, or like I just, that's been helpful, just being intentional about whatever's in my head, making sure it lands somewhere on a daily basis. And some days are better than others.
Mhm.
And I had it like 2 days ago, I was on the train, and I allowed myself to play with one of the characters in Alex's story, and like give her a voice, and imagine like, if she were to have her own middle grade, what would that be?
Cool.
It's like having that moment on the train and not just thinking about it, but actually leaving it somewhere. And again, to like bring back Chris Lynch, he was always great about like make sure you have something to write with.
That's cool. Um, what are you reading right now? Like, what have you been reading lately that's made you go like, oh, damn.
Reading a lot of picture books.
Yeah.
I am. I'm revising a picture book. I love picture books very much. I'm getting ready for the school year with my students. I love reading books to them that can like teach them things about different cultures, but can
Mhm.
also make them laugh at the same time. I'm intrigued by picture books are really hard.
They're so hard.
They're so
Anybody
hard,
who thinks they're easy is wrong.
and I'm obsessed with trying to figure them out.
Yeah.
I want them to be for kids. I know that adults, obviously, I love picture books, and adults are the ones that usually will share a picture book with a child, but I want picture books that make kids laugh and will make them say, "aw," and then leave some sort of a message. So that's been my biggest thing. There's one called The Interpreter that I
Okay.
love. I've probably read it 5 times already. Um, and I just started Kate Messner's The Trouble with Heroes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm getting ready to be sad, but
Yeah. Yes. Yes. How far did you get?
not very far.
Yeah.
Literally bought it this week.
Yeah, we can talk about it. We can talk about it when you're done.
Okay.
But yes, be ready to be sad. I mean, it's beautiful
Yeah.
and sad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do we have some questions from our fabulous audience? If you'd like to, this is a small enough Zoom where I feel like you could drop it in the chat or you could just unmute yourself and be a human, and both of those things would be allowed.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh,
So Jasmine left off the part where I basically demanded that she keep writing this book because it was so good. It had everything. And it's just fantastic on every level. It talks about the education system, which we all criticize and take part in. Special needs of, I'm a neurodivergent person as well. Um, but I wanted to say, do you ever think about having like a, in the future, like a teacher's guide to this or something like that? Big,
I I do have a friend who is a professor at Brooklyn College and has like brought that to my attention. It is something that is in the works. So, and I do think it's important. I'd love to see this in the hands of like teachers who are hoping to well, soon to be teachers that are hoping to work with kids like Alex.
that's a very good idea.
could you have it done by next month? Because, because last year, well, Kate would know about this. We have in Boston Public something called TLC. It's a therapeutic learning group, right? So you have a bunch of kids that are in a what we call a self-contained class, based on like behavior, which always sounds weird to me. Like, but I didn't have the group last year, but this year I have a group coming up of 10 boys, right? Yeah, they had a pretty interesting year last year. I didn't teach them last year, but I'm teaching them this year. And this is the announcement I'm going to make. The first book they're going to read is this one. We're going
Oh,
to sit down and have conversations about it and everything. That's the first book we're reading day one. So thank you. I've been waiting for this book for a long time. So
oh,
yeah.
that means a lot. I mean, I'm happy to like meet with that crew.
Mhm.
Let me know.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's good because I was like, Jasmine does school visits. I'm sure. I'm sure she does virtual and in person school visits.
Mhm. Oh, that's special. Thank you, Pata.
You got it. You got it, sis.
That's lovely.
Mhm.
Anybody else have any questions?
I'm curious now that you have completed this novel, and congratulations. Are you thinking ahead to either maybe future novels with Alex or other classmates of Alex's?
It's interesting. I was having this conversation with Kate not too long ago where I realized probably as I was revising this story with my editor, that the story I had worked on at Lesley for my first 2 semesters, which I didn't finish because it was just a little too close and personal, is actually Alex's mom. So there's that lives in my computer. I've thought about his sister as a special needs sibling. I have a special place for kids that have to fill those shoes. I can see myself playing with that. Um, but that's
Hmm.
as far as it goes with Alex. Right now, I have a bit of a picture book brain, so I'm allowing myself to play with that. But I'd love to write another middle grade novel in verse at some point.
Well, and you have one of those on your computer too. You're just not talking about it. But I can say that there are seeds there. It's not a full-blown book yet. It's okay, but it's not like you're ignoring that. You're just very focused on your picture book right now, which is totally legitimate. I'm just saying that is also there.
Right, right. Yeah, there are seeds. I love, again, this goes back to like, how do you keep a writerly life?
Yeah.
It's MFA, it's allowing yourself to like, there's an idea in your head and you're going back to it more than once, like let it live somewhere. Don't
Hmm.
let it stay in your head.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Writing has to be fun, or else, like, I mean, it's not always fun. As someone again who's currently revising, um, there are fun parts and not so fun parts, but it should always, that's the thing that I keep for myself, and that makes all the other parts of my life make sense.
Yeah. And if it stops being fun, then that's usually a sign to take a break from the
Yes.
book or the words or something. And it looks like we have a very lovely question in the chat.
It's awesome, Chacha.
I'd love to ask about how the revision process was for Alex. I had the pleasure of meeting you while you were in the revision process, from what I remember. How was it to revise a verse novel, especially one that's so close to your heart?
I was very lucky with Alex because I started revising it at Lesley with Cynthia Platt, and like Cynthia doesn't play and she's wonderful. So I was able to work through that stage of revision, and also like allowing myself to cry. There were plenty of parts to this story that just like touch those buttons, and giving myself that space to process like where Alex was, where his parents were, the when his mom like made herself vulnerable. um and I really wanted to do justice to his experience, so that helped me take on revision. And again, I did get a lot of support at Lesley. My agent was wonderful after Lesley, and my editor, he knew Alex's story and also was incredibly helpful in getting me to get this story to shine.
Hmm. Yeah. Having revised a couple of verse novels myself, I would add that um, sometimes my body will just tell me what I need for revision. So, like, there always comes a point in both drafting and revision where I end up on the floor. I don't know why that is, but like, I do. I literally have to be on the floor with my laptop, just being like, this is what we're doing now. We're at the floor stage of things. And like, I don't know if I just need to be closer to the ground, but like, that's what it is.
Right.
Um, and I think there's something there too about not being too precious, not being too precious with your words, right? Like I think about um the first version of the Song of Us that I had when it was a full draft was 30,000 words. When I finished revising it, it was 16,000 words, because I just learned that I had to not be precious, and I had to be precise. And there's a difference there, like a pretty key difference, especially in writing poetry. Of course, then with the $16,000 draft, when I got an editor at HarperCollins, she was like, we're gonna need a few more words to like make this book. Like, that's fine, right? I'm adding back in words, totally fine. But there is something to be said for uh, letting go of text when it's not serving you, or when it's not serving the story anymore.
You're reminding me, Kate. I remember when I saw Alex's story in a PDF for the first time and realized it was 425 pages.
Oh,
Obviously, it is not 425 pages. So letting go, there
yeah.
were like a lot of poems that I really enjoyed, but I knew they weren't necessary. Like again, with novels in verse, you get the most concentrated version of a story. So saying goodbye to those poems was like, I'm like, they live in my computer.
Yeah.
Who knows what'll happen with them in the future? But
Hmm.
the story didn't need it. So like, I love them. They're great poems, but Alex didn't need them in this book.
Yeah. The director's cut.
Yes,
I
420.
have read the director's cut, folks. It is very long. 425 pages is a lot of poems. I've also created a director's cut of my own. It's too long. It's too many poems. But what's cool to see is what does last, right? Because then what does last, it's like every poem has to punch and every page has to hit, and like that becomes so magical. Even if it means saying goodbye to things and you're like, oh, well, I like that poem, but it's not moving the story forward, so it doesn't belong in this. And it goes in the Undead Darlings folder in your computer, so you can revive it later if you need to, or not.
What did Jason Reynolds say in one of the seminars? I think it was like cut the fluff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, we can thank Jason Reynolds for me going from 30,000 words to 16,000 words, just cutting every word. There's no more thes left in my book. Just that. Rebecca wants to know, is there any genre or category you haven't tried out yet that might be calling you to experiment with in the future?
I want to write something scary. And
Oh,
anyone who knows me knows like this muchacha doesn't do scary. She hides behind toss pillows.
yeah.
She's a whole gallina when it comes to this. However, I am like, there's something about it that like has been in my head for like the last couple of months. I'm not there yet. I need to like, there's like a lot of like genre study that I need to do in order to get to that space. And then after, once I do that, then I have to think about like, if I'm going to do this, how would I?
Right. Are we thinking paranormal? Are we thinking murder mystery? Are we
No,
thinking...
breaks. Ponle freno.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you want ideas, you gotta read everything by Tiffany Jackson.
You're getting too Kate. No, I said something scary.
Something scary.
You're getting too specific.
Okay, just read everything by Tiffany Jackson and then come back to me. Okay.
Something scary. That's all you're getting. But I would like to. I don't know why. It's like I've caught myself watching more scary things lately, and like there's a level of engagement, and I tend to like tune out of things fairly quickly. So I'd love to be able to play with that. And again, I like to write for my people to be able to do that well. As a Dominican writer, I think it's a challenge worth taking up at some point. Not yet, but it is something I'd like to do at some point.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'm really not into scary books, but I will read everything Tiffany Jackson writes because she's so good. I just make myself stay up anyway. But I will say I read this great school library journal piece a couple years ago about making the case for middle grade horror, and that what it is that it teaches us what we can survive. And like as soon as they said that, I was like, oh shit. That's so good. Somebody write that down. Oh, they did out right there in the article. But like that, to me, that reframe just made it seem so much more appealing, both as a reader and a writer. Because like, yeah, it does teach us what we can survive. Like, damn, that's cool.
I just bought a middle grade novel in verse, The Girl in the Walls. I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah. A little paranormal.
Something scary.
Yeah, something scary. We don't know what direction. But your agent's on the call, so they can write that down and just take note here. Something scary coming 2027.
Scary and something really silly. I have two nephews, 4 and 6, and they're gross, but also really funny. And whenever I'm around them, I always have like a seedling of something that should be really silly and live in a picture book. So those are extremes. I just said something silly and something scary.
But that's good though. I mean, I like, because as much as I think in this day and age, like social media and the general internet kind of pushes us to like build a brand or be a brand, like I say write the words you want to write, and like you don't have to stay to one thing to be a writer.
No. And then there are the things that you write for you.
Yeah.
That and it's just fun. And again, it's part of that exercise. How do you keep flexing whatever it is? For me, it's like poetic booms, allowing myself to play with something. It doesn't have to be a story. It doesn't have to be something that I'm sending off somewhere. It's just the thing that needed to get out of my head and live elsewhere.
Yeah, for me, it's like sad poems no one gets to read. That's it. Jasmine, do you have any questions for yourself? Oh, any
So
other middle grade book recs you'd both love to give? Always. Thank you for asking. I did just read Blood in the Water this week by Tiffany Jackson, who I've already shouted about. But it is fabulous. It takes place on Martha's Vineyard. It is about a Black 12-year-old girl who goes to visit her grandma's friend for the summer, and a teenager is found dead of a suspected shark attack, but the main character thinks that something is afoot. And because it's a Tiffany Jackson novel, of course, something is afoot. It's very good. It's like a 5-hour audiobook. I like burned through it instantly. It was so good.
I love anyone who knows me knows that I love Pablo Cartaya and his like middle grade work. He has A Hero's Guide to Summer Vacation. Highly recommend that one. And again, the picture book I mentioned earlier, The Interpreter, if you're just looking for like a heartfelt story, to share with a young person with your life, or if you're a picture book fan, I love that one as well. Oh yay, you read A Hero's Guide.
I do want to plug a couple of other really good ones. Um, Going Overboard by Caroline Huntoon. That came out in maybe March, and it is like what would we? It's like reverse Parent Trap, but on a cruise, and it is about a non-binary kiddo who sets up their parents or is trying to break up uh, their mom and the mom's girlfriend with the help of the mom's girlfriend's son. It's like, it should be a Disney movie. It was so funny and so delightful. And then the other one I'll plug is coming out in September, I think. It's called A Little Too Haunted. It's by Justine Pucella Winans. If you read middle grade horror or YA horror or both, you have to be reading Justine's work. They're magical in their ability to both make things scary and funny at the same time.
What are you playing with, Kate?
No, this is not about me.
No, it's a conversation. Someone near and dear to me said that in conversation means I get to ask questions too.
Fine. Well, I've been playing with a lot of things. I'm on submission right now with a young adult book that I love, and being on submission has been really hard because the market is really tough, and it makes me really sad to think that this hilarious book that I've created is just sitting in a lot of inboxes. But now I have just started working on a YA novel that is about a senior in high school. She's like 6 weeks from graduation, and she's got her whole life planned out. She's gonna go to Barnard College, and she's gonna live her best lesbian college life. And then she is diagnosed with the terminal illness that she is becoming a tree, and she has 4 seasons until she will have to be planted for good. And so it's about what is she going to do with her last year as a person. And I like to say that it's like The Fault in Our Stars, but like gayer and weirder and not as pretentious. So it's got like that sadness to it, but she's not dying, but she's not going to get her life the way that she's meticulously planned it out.
And you're having fun with this.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think I am having fun with it because it is for me. Because, like, I don't know if it can go anywhere. I don't, I'm trying to be like, I can't tell you what the market wants besides sexy dragons, and I don't write sexy dragon books. Listen, if anybody on this call writes sexy dragon books, this moment's for you. Take it, because soon I'm sure we'll be back to vampires. But, like, in this moment, just love it. And then when you're done, give us the market back, because I just love to put my little queer books back out into the market without the dragons. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on.
Gracias, muchacha.
De nada. Well, I just want to say that CCW and Lesley mean a lot to me. This MFA program brought me a lot of friends, but also a lot of like colleagues who I just respect really deeply. And Jasmine is no doubt among the top of those. Just a wonderful human. If you have not read The Extraordinary Orbit of Alex Ramirez, what are you doing with your life? Because you're not doing it right. That's the thing. But you have time to rectify it. You can run to your nearest independent bookstore. You can buy it. You can order it from the evil overlords at Amazon if that is how you prefer it. Jasmine does not care where you buy it, but you should buy it. Um,
I love my good independent bookstores. Those are always my faves. So those are
yeah, and if you live near Books of Wonder,
see.
Jasmine just signed like 15 copies there yesterday. So like what are you even doing? You should be on a train right now to New York. I don't know why you're still on this call. Like go.
Oh gosh.
All right. Thank you both so much for the wonderful conversation. I should have also mentioned earlier, Kate is one of the board members of Cambridge Common Writers. So she's always working hard to give back to the community. And I love being able to have everyone together at events like this where we can just celebrate incredible works of one of our alums. So this was so fantastic. Thank you. I've dropped the link to Jasmine's book in the chat. Although, as Kate said, of course, hop, run, walk, skip, wherever to get to your nearest independent bookstore because they always appreciate that love.